DCS has been in a bit of a hard position more recently. We saw stuff like F-15s being abandoned in progress. Early access F-15s that were fairly full priced. Then the F-35 announcement came and people really got riled up. They started calling DCS a game, which I'm not here to debate that today. But then a group, or a dev team, called Ergra Media came along and made this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Digital Combat Simulator DCS World. And welcome to the Cold War era Germany map. Available now. We are going to do a standard overview of this map. Spoilers, I've actually already done this once before, but my primary mic decided it didn't want to be a microphone, and it wanted to be a vocoder. So I'm on my backup microphone, one of my backup microphones, and we're going to re-record this. The good news for you guys is I've already kind of glossed over the map and know where the neat parts are. The bad news is you don't get to see my original reactions to stuff like, well, we'll cover it later. But anyway, without further ado, let's jump in and start exploring this map. So we are going to start out on the East German side of the map. We'll take a look at some of the vehicles that are available first and foremost. I will say the soundscape of the map definitely needs a little bit of work as things come along. The city just feels a little bit dead, even in the more built-up urban centers. But you've got this Gaz-looking truck. There's two of them, actually. And then over here is a wannabe Lada Riva. There's also a Lada, or a would-be wannabe Lada. And that kind of rounds out most of the mix. There's a couple specialty ones you'll see, but more importantly over here, my god, what is this? It is an open pit mine. And not only is it an open pit mine, it's an open pit mine with excavators that are actively scooping with their buckets. There's a few of these spread across the map, but look at the scale of this thing. Absolutely love it. Let's get up close to some of these buckets. I mean, they're, you know, not 4K fidelity or anything, but they're super cool. I absolutely love them. Like I said, there's a handful of these spread around. You can see one there, one there, one there, one there. And there's a few more across the map. Next up, we'll look at right next door is a nuclear, don't George Bush me, power facility. You can see we've got the big cooling towers here. Nothing on the inside. Oh no, there's a cooling matrix. Look at that. There's actually a little cooling matrix modeled. How neat. And then we have our turbine hall here. All the turbines and that sort of stuff spin. And this is, you know, this is something they didn't have to model. They could have just made this shut door and been like, yep, that's where that's where the power happens. But no. No. More cooling towers. Maybe this isn't a nuclear facility, because I don't see any reactor hull, unless this is supposed to be the reactor hull. I don't know. We're not here to focus on infrastructure. We're here to look at a map. You can see the nice detail of the power lines there as well. Additional factory type building here. Let's go back into the F10 map and see what else we can find. I'm seeing new things, actually, that I have not explored. But no, we'll keep on the path here. Radar installations, there's a few of these peppered across the map as well. I think I found them mostly, or primarily, I should say, on the East German side, but there are these radar installations. And something to keep an eye out for is just the amount of new assets in this map. This is what really blew me away. The other thing is the frame rate. Look at that. Solid 60 frames. Now, obviously, I'm on a bare naked map with no custom models put in, but there's certain other maps that shan't be named. Afghanistan, South America. That had horrendous performance, not horrendous, but not good performance out of the gate with your standard, just the plain map. And then obviously your performance got worse the further you went. Let's go to Frankfurt. Where are you? So I want to look at the Frankfurt airport. Look at me. Haha, insert your American geography jokes. Throw them in. Throw them in. I'm not lost, you are. Am I dumb? Hamburg? Lunenburg. Is it to the south? It's not to the south. There it is. It is to the south. So this, in a few years, will be where Airbus starts to make their airplanes. If they weren't already. I actually don't know if Airbus was cranking airplanes out here, but this is the ramp where they would do it. You can see the nice big jet washways, but more importantly, look at this terminal over here, right? We have not Lufthansa, but Lufthansa. Yeah, the Lufthansa terminal. And then in addition to that, we've got two new static airplane models. We've got the 727 looking Lufthansa, not Lufthansa, Lufthansa aircraft here. I like the blue jetways as well. Classic black nose 7.2s. And then over here, we have not a Pan Am, but a Pan An 747 Classic. No winglets. Big cones sticking out of the back of the engines, but it's obviously a 747. No one would ever mistake the Queen of the Skies at Frankfurt am Main. Couple more 727s, same situation, just sprinkled across the apron here. Believe this is all new ground service and ground handling equipment. We've got some baggage carts. Not really sure. Are these like self-propelled generators or self-propelled power stations for ground power? And over here, there are some tugs. Beep, beep. Very cool. Love to see it. Frankfurt Airport. But less important are on the civil side. Let's look at some of the military airports. I found that on the map they're a little bit more heavy on the East German side, so that's where we're going to go. Is over to the East German side. Let's try and find a good example. Hopefully I'm not zooming into a dirt field. I kind of no, I'm not. Okay. So you can see we've got a few hardened aircraft shelters. There's I think 3 different varieties of hardened aircraft shelters on this map, complete with furnishings. You've got your maps of East and West Germany. You've got your seats. You've got your Newspapierl. I don't know why I said it like that. And over here, we've got a not hardened hangar, but still a very nicely detailed one nonetheless. Additional hangar type. Don't really know what you're going to fit in there. I don't even think a 172 would fit in there. And then you've got your big boy hangar, complete with the most large, obnoxious, forward-facing sprite chain I've ever seen in my life. No idea what that's supposed to be, but I like it. Big chains. A staple that I found across... Oh no, it's not here. No, it's not at this airfield. We'll talk about that staple later. We've got some military barracks that are fully furnished inside. Are you ready for this? 3, 2, 1. Huh? Look at that. Look at that. And every single one of these tents has got stuff in it. They didn't need to do this. They didn't need to do this, but they did. Knives, ashtrays, tea kettles. And from what I can tell, every single one of those tents is like that. It's very, very cool. Control tower, where'd you go? There you are. Complete with radar scopes, approach plates, all that kind of stuff. Again, it's low poly, but who cares, dude? Like, your best view of it's going to be like this from a targeting pod or something. And again, this is supposed to be like, 70s and 80s era Germany. So like, you're not going to have the craziest stuff. Here's a static train. These trains do move. Not this one, but similar configuration. We'll see if we see one of those out in the wild in our review. Let's see, do we have any other new Vics? We do. We've got a... I don't even know. Some unsuspecting looking motorcycle. I wanted to say Suzuki Boulevard, but they definitely did not have those. The Soviet response to the Volkswagen bus. another Lada, and then that same truck we saw before. Some military airstrips galore. Let's take a look at one more military airstrip, see if we can find a little Easter egg that I'm looking for. I don't think it's going to be here. And this is probably going to be a lot of the same assets, so we'll zoom back out. Let's go a little bit closer towards the border. Did we look at this one? No, it's a dirt strip, though. Let's take a look. I've actually... Oh, look at this. Is this 3 runways? My gosh. Complete with approach lighting. Look at that. That's so cute. That's wonderful. Helipads, small aircraft stands. Looks like we've got some Yak 52s ready to roll for reconnaissance. Got some in the hangars as well. Very cool. Love to see that. Gliders. We were going to talk about gliders later on, but while they're visible in here in front of us, a lot of the air race airfields have gliders. More Soviet bloc era vehicles. There was a, yep, there it is, Soviet or East German fire truck, as well as, I don't know if this is a Volkswagen. It looks like the Volkswagen vans, but I don't know. Krankenwagen. Don't know. Oh, and a camper van. Or if you're from the UK, a caravan. With red lights on the tow hitch end. Whatever. I don't know. I wasn't alive in the 70s. Let's keep it moving. Let's go look at water features. I know I'm holding out on the whole border wall thing. We'll get to it. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. I don't think I've actually looked in here at all. This is a very, very developed city. It's huge. Look at that. Look at all of the new assets. Partially, is this like a destroyed church here? Like one that burned down, maybe? Very, very cool. And then you've got intact churches here. We're gonna go check that out in a second. More intact church here. At least what looks like a church. I could be mistaken. But you can tell we're on the West German side now because there's BMWs, or at least what probably are BMWs. Look at those little kidney grills. What happened, BMW? Why are your kidney grills the size of 4 heads now? What's going on? Anyway. Pointy Space Needle Tower thing. No idea what this is, but it looks heckin' cool. Don't get too close. Absolutely love it. Very, very cool. Let's go down to the base. We've got a little ice cream shop. Ice cream stand there. We can look up at the giant spire. What other interesting things are immediately in our field of vision? There's another church. You can see bells in the steeples there. Ah, no clackers in the bells. 0 out of 10. No, in all seriousness, this map is... This is, I think, what developers of maps should look to do. We want performance, we want variety, and this map kind of proves the point that I was making previously, which is you can have variety in a map, right? If we come out to here, there's obviously repeated assets, but they're nicely sprinkled out enough to where you don't really notice, and there's enough unique assets in between, like the big pointy tower thing, or the where the football pitch go, that football pitch, that it doesn't matter as much. Another vehicle quick stop. We've got a Mercedes-Benz old style E-Class, or what would be 2 of them actually. Another BM. That's the truck we saw before. We got our Volkswagen vans or our yokes. I don't know. That, what's obviously your classic Beetle, even if it doesn't say so. So a lot of new assets, and then we've got the, I don't know, West German motorcycle. I think that's the same thing as what we saw before, but nonetheless, cool. Like to see it. But big urban sprawl here. Not super compact. But, I mean, I'm getting better performance here than I did on some of the other maps. So, that's all I'm here to say. I'm on the same. Look at it. There we go. There's a train in the wild moving along. They don't make sounds, unfortunately, so that still needs some work. But, I mean, it looks cool, right? You just make your own sounds. Look, here comes another one. Some train-on-train action. But bam! Look at that. See? Do you get that in the other maps? You do, actually. You do. Let's keep it moving. There's Hamburg Airport. Nothing particular. Are those windsocks? Look at me getting distracted. No, those are radar arrays. Very cool. Again, I believe this is a unique to this map asset. And we will talk about, I believe this is a ILS, because you have a vertical and a horizontal radar array. Some 727 in the hangar action. That's cool. The elephant in the room for this map is the fact that currently there's not a lot of aircraft or assets that can support a Cold War era mission. Now, I know there's your MiG-15s, your MiG-19s, your F-86s, maybe F-5s. I don't think F-5s were around then. Oh, look at the twinkle Mercedes. Anyone epileptic in the audience? If they are, they're dead. Anyway, there's not a lot in terms of aircraft or other world assets for this map, and I think that's going to be the biggest problem that this map has. You're going to have to kind of flex your imagination a little bit and make your own scenarios. You know, let's say that we didn't have the Mr. Gorbachev tear down this wall from Ronald Reagan, and, you know, the battle continued for several more years past the 90s into the 2000s. And, you know, now you can bring in stuff like your F-18s, which I guess F-18s were around in the 80s, so were F-15s. So, I mean, you can make up your own stuff. We weren't flying them in theater over there for sure, but you have to just have to flex your imagination a little bit, and it's not a bad thing. As we get older, our imaginations certainly dwindle to an extent, for most of us anyway. So this is an opportunity to flex your imagination muscle, if you will. I think I've done enough stalling. Let's go to the border wall. And it goes, I mean, you can see it here. It's this orange line here. It goes all the way here, all the way down, fully bisecting Germany, north to south, all the way to the end of the map. So let's start at the northernmost point up here and work our way down. So you can see the clear definition between the east and the west. You've got stuff like the compound barbed wire, razor wire fences on the eastern side, and then just a standard fence on the other side. And that continues kind of the whole way down. You've got an assortment of different guard towers and guard shacks. I do like the detail on all of that. And then obviously you've got your big waterway here. Further separates the guard shacks, entry points. Let's go look at these boats real quick. We've got some ferries. I'm assuming, we'll just pretend that these are delivering new trucks and new Volkswagen vans and cargo containers. Again, on the level of detail, one, the ship has that same light that we saw at the airfield. I dig it. And then two, the bridge is freaking, it's modeled, dude. Like, again, this is not breaking any records, but from the air, it looks like that. So the fact that there's modeling at all is cool to me. Anyway, let's continue our border investigation. And we're obviously not going to whip down the entire border, but whiz around a little bit here. See if we see any major differences. We've got some tank traps there. We've got our border crossing, and I don't remember the name of the border police. This says the Volkspolice, Volkspolizei. I don't. The name, the term Stasi keeps coming to mind, but I know that's not it. But you've got one of the checkpoints where if you had your appropriate papers, you could go between East and Western Germany. One of these little trench lines here. No idea what that really would do. Is that for runoff? Is that to stop, like, people crossing? I don't know. Very, very interesting time to research more on, because I'm obviously too young to have lived through it. And this just looks like a repeat of the last border crossing we had. But if we go up a little bit, there is a distinct difference between East German buildings and West German buildings. I love that. So it's not just the vehicles, the building designs as well are different. So you can really get an idea of where you are airspace-wise or ground base-wise if you're doing combined arms. Interesting. This is a rail line that goes between the East and the West. But what I was saying before is you can get an idea of where you are in terms of your theater of operation just based on the buildings you're seeing, the vehicles you're seeing, that sort of stuff. So, you know, if you are fighting on the West German side and you're trying to get back to safety and you start seeing Volkswagens and Mercedes-Benz, you're probably good. Nice, colorful houses, and vice versa, you know. You're fighting on the East German side, you're looking for Ladas. Ladas equals safety. Maybe not. They had some good surface-to-air stuff. We've got air race pylons. This is one of the things I was talking about before with the air race fields. Default air race pylons. So if you want to bust out, I don't know, if you've got the Yak or if you have the extra mod, you can do some air racing. Look at that, a hot air balloon just appeared in front of us. I didn't even know this was a thing. Look at that. Modeled flame as well. And it's actually moving. That's fantastic. Developers, take note. This is what, at least I would imagine the rest of the community, this is what we want from our maps. There's more hot air balloons. Look at all of them. 2, 3, 4. This one's moored. That one's moored as well. Crazy. Not really, it's just hot air balloon, but love of detail is what's appreciated. Yeah, they've got your tanks. There's another, they called gondolas on hot air balloons, I believe. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. I think we're going to go back to the F10 because there's nothing of super interest to me in my immediate field of view. We got another uniquely designed church. Going back into the F10. I'm trying to think what else I want to show you guys. We looked at the mines already. We looked at a couple of the military and non-military airports. Oh, I know. Stand by. Ooh, it might be a challenge to find it, though. Might be a challenge to find one. If I don't find it after about 30 seconds of looking here, I will just tell you what I'm looking for. And then you can go find them should you choose to purchase this map, which I personally think you should. Oh, look at my frames are going away. It's because I've been recording for 23 minutes straight and my hard drive's going, ah! I was going to scream louder, but I opted not to. You're welcome. I don't see what I'm looking for. So what I'm looking for, and tell me if I've missed it at any point in the video, or at any point later on, is a MiG-15 on a pedestal. It's a little MiG on a stick is what I call it. A lot of the airfields here had them. Just not the one. We've got armor, boys. Look at that. Static armor. What is that, a T-55? Look at that. It's not a T-55, but I'm bad with Soviet era tanks, so you have to excuse me. My next choice would be a T-72, which I obviously know it's not a T-72. Maybe that is a T-55. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Does not matter. But yeah, MiGs on sticks. They're around here, I promise. I just like I said, I'm struggling to find one right now. You'll have to forgive me. But I think that roughly is gonna do it. I can try to find one more airport maybe that has hardened hangars. Maybe not. I was thinking I'd find a MiG on a stick here, and nope. Do you know why? Oh, never mind. No, this would be where, maybe you'd find one here, but I don't see one. The point I was going to make is that I found it interesting that the Yak 52s are obviously the Eagle Dynamics model, but the MiGs on a stick were definitely not. They're too low fidelity, too low poly. Now, they're still fine for what they're doing. They're just not... they're not fully set up. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for a little tour here. I've been going for over 25 minutes, not including the intro. So with the intro, it's even longer. So that's going to do it. Little gas truck here as well. I definitely recommend this map solely on, like, ignoring the elephant in the room that I talked about with the whole, oh, you're not going to be able to do scenarios with it. That's solved by other developers stepping up to the plate and making cool Cold War era modules. Performance alone and the variety that's available in this map. It's obviously it's a relatively flat map, right? We're talking about Germany, right? But ignoring that, the performance of this map as well as the variety of it, I think it's a solid win. You can do some high tension situations, some tactical munitions employment. Something I didn't get to show, which I'm not going to be able to find now, is there's a market for DCS. Oh, look, there's a Soviet block train carrying goods. Oh, my frames! Oh no, I'm back in South America. So anyway, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and drop me a like. I'm definitely not going to make any money off of this. Not that I make any money off of YouTube at all. I do this for fun and enjoyment, but it does help me out to know what you guys do and don't like on the channel, so I can adapt, adjust, and overcome as time goes on. But anyway, I'm Sample. Thank you very much for watching this video for the third time now. I do dearly appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one, and as always, take it easy.